Kuf Tzadi Hey. Let me see, I get this tuned in here. Now we have basically seen what he showed us. If you want to be a tzaddik, a real tzaddik, told us what you have to do. You have to become I don't know if he says it, if he said it or if he's going to say it. You have to become, what do they call it? To the matronisa, he's going to say, I'm forgetting the word here right now, but we're going to pick it up. We're on number Kuf Daled. He says, Shoshvina, that's it, the Shoshvina, the matronusa. A person who has kavanah to do this. The matronisa, he pronounces. I get my pronunciation right. So he becomes an escort to the queen. So what does that mean? He becomes, he's like physically in contact with something similar to that, to the Shekhinah. The person is able to do that. Give me 1 second here. Okay, we're still okay. A person gets up. Nikba Shoshvina de Matronesa. Haina Shoshvin, the Rachel, that he is an escorting her, Messiah Lobadikunahu, that helps her in building herself up. Ubezecha Bamuvan Godel Shvacha Adsam Shishvichu Bezoyer Baharbir Bekomas as a Loma Torah La'achat Zozalayla. Then he says like this, I don't know exactly where we get into this. We'll see. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Ayin Gimel Ubelis Safek Shamakamin the Kol Zechashin is Bar Hine Nikra Be'emes Shoshvina de Matronisa. I'm reading down low at the very bottom here. 1 second. At the bottom. So he says, Mashbach Medivra Harav. It's not enough just to do what you're supposed to do. Where did he get this from? So he says there should be mekavin. You should have kavanah for all that you're doing. He says, you have to have in mind that what you're doing, what the actual kavanahs are at this time. Let's go back up to number Kuf Hey. Kuf Hey Savaki Ha'ikar, who, the main thing. So he's saying you want to be the tzaddik, so you have to arrange your life in such a way that you're up all night for the time of midnight. And then when at that time, you should go to daven. Should not be interrupted in any way, b'shena klal. But if you get to this stage, there is no devotion to the Almighty, the greater than this. So the organ is the order, the press way. This is the time you should set aside for learning. Miyad leilech lihispalo. V'lo lahapsik b'shina kalal. They shouldn't sleep at all. Mechatzos on the tefillah. V'davazet ein lamala mimenu. So he's telling us what is the highest form of devotion to Hashem by doing this. Now let me see where Ayin Daled is. Ayin Daled is. Well, let's look at Ayin Daled down below. He said, "Im ein ba'adam yecholos lehiyos neir kol chatzos achron shalalayla." Okay, I haven't got to that part yet, so let's go up here. Im ein ba'adam yecholos lehiyos neir kol chatzos achrona. So what happens if you can't do the second half of the night? Shalalayla. Oz yaku mamash b'chatzos. Then you should get mamash up at midnight. V'yivker al churban. And the first thing you should do then is you should say Tikkun Hatzos, like say take a half an hour to do that. And then take a moment I don't know what Shah means, if it means 60 minutes or if it means a moment, also could be. V'dikavach of the Dishnei Kavanos in his karos, and have in mind these two kavanos. And then after that, you should go back to sleep. Now, what are the two kavanos? I'm trying to think of what are the two kavanos. I'd like him to list it for me again. One of the kavanos is to be a shoshvina to the malchus. Maybe uvilvad shetachsa v'takum kamo chetzi shah kodem alos hashachar, and specifically this: you should get up a half an hour before daybreak, v'tachsa l'asok b'Torah, and go back and learn Torah. Both in shekodem she'alach of amud hashachar, in this way, that before we come to the time of the amud hashachar, tichi yerem iskasher im ashkina rachel haniskeres, that he says, She'ala Amod Shachar, he said, what was the first word? He says, Shekodem, that before you get to that point, Shachar, Miskasher Im Hashkina Rachel and Niskeres, you should make a kasher there, your neshama with the Shechina. So that's the kavanah that you have to have. When before Alas HaShachar, when she then goes up with her beloved into Atzilus, so you see him in Neir, Miskasher Imah, that you would see him awakened and tied. Is that the right word? Neir, yeah. Miskasher Imah, and tied together with her. Besod b'nei heichel damatranisa, of the one of the court of the, a member of the court of the queen. V'ta'ala osach ima, and should go bring yourself up with her. Be'ez alusa b'tefilas hashachar. V'sod iros shachar, and this is the concept of awakening the morning. Ani ma'orach hashachar. Also that phrase, ki ha'ikar hu shehei neir be'ez amud hashachar. That's the main thing, to be up at that time. So let's see what else we could say about this. There was, we were supposed to read, I guess, I guess we're supposed to read the light print. We'll read the light print on the TIV Hakavanot, and it says like this, on the word amnam in the second column from the fourth line from the bottom. Amnam, he says, Yirel lekum shuv lilmod gehetzisha kodem alas hashachar. So you should move yourself. So if you have to go back to sleep, and so you should move yourself to get up a half an hour before hashachar. V'yishuhu inyan v'tzorach godol l'chiyos neir be'ez alas hashachar. So it's a really important thing. The person should be awakened at the time of alas hashachar. Kevin shebe'ez alas hashachar, because at this time, what is happening then? Ola Rachel Hainacha Nukuda Shrashi Shalom. That is her root dot. Shehi spheres a kesa pratis the Rachel, because that's the part that goes down into Bia. So he has a little thing about this. Kamavur La'el as repeated. V'chozeres Latzilus, and she goes back to Atzilus. So a person who's awake at this time, 1 second. Let's see where I'm at. Okay. So as she is coming up into the bridge, I guess you would say, or what's the right word? I can't try the interface between Olam Abriya and Olam Atzilus. She's moving into that place. You'll do it along with her. Ta'ala oso imo. Now this is another kavanah. This is the kavanah here. So I think that was it on that part. And so let's go backwards a little bit. So let's go over to here to this number Ayin Daled in the Shefa Kavanos. There is an arichas here, which is important. I don't know if how much we'll get done of it. Ein ba'adam yecholeh l'chiyos neir kol chatzos achrona shel halayla kos of the kaf ha'chaim be'inyan alimad achatzos. The adam shechoshav, that his senses, v'kachoshav, and his strength. I don't know what he means by chushav yet. V'kachoshav hagufniim Chalashim beteva, that they're weak, then their nature is weak. I know that in the shtetl, they used to have people would wake you up for tikkun, so say nothing, but there was no work. It was people were really in miserable condition, according to Rabbi Wein. So this is a thing that they did then. They didn't have electric lights either. So it's really more of a mitzvah for this person to sleep after tzos. So he shouldn't mess up his sensibilities. Shalo. And the things that he's going to be able to need to become a servant to fulfill the Torah and mitzvahs. Kol Yemei Chayav his whole life, because it could be that the person is not very strong, it's going to weaken his effort to serve Hashem. Now we get into this little arichos here, number Ayin Hey. It says, Oz Yakum Mamit Bechatzos V'achar Kach Tachsu Lishon. The Shleimus Ha'inyan, in order to really complete this idea, Na'atek B'divrech Rashash B'nar Shalom. Let's go to the Rashash. And this is what he says. So he says, V'tekef, Umiyad b'chatzos alayla, yizgaver ka'ari l'kum b'shinaso, v'yizocher m'od shelo ya'aver chatzos v'hu yasher. And it's very important that a person not let midnight go by and he's sleeping. Ki im ya'aver chatzos v'hu yasher, oz hu toim tam demusa. Then there is a taste of death. The mizdavak v'niskasher b'razach of the musa, and it ties itself to him. He clings to it. It ties him. B'razach of the musa. V'shaled alei sitra the ruach misa'ava. So now he's now got that on him. Kihu yored b'chetzach hara the klipas noga. And the klipas noga, I think we've seen, is divided into two parts: the top part and the bottom part. So this also, he says, he winds up attaching himself to the bottom part of that klipa. Which the thing about that klipa is that it's an opening both to kedusha and it's an opening to deeper klipos. So that would be the highest part, and that would be the making, let's say, so to speak, because once again the klipas noga is a little bit of an interface between what's up above and what's down below. So he says, so you get involved in the upper part. That's the part that's transitioning into Atzilus. It's called 60 breaths. I'm going to talk about it, when I start talking about the Gavanas of sleep. So the person who's sleeping during those 6 hours, whether it's a little bit or it's a lot, so it's called 16 breaths minus 1, so 59. I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with this idea particularly. Below time of the Musa v'hu chai. Kaniska bezarva parshas v'yigash. V'rafilu yashan achar chatzos achar shiyomach brachos v'tikon chatzos. So if a person is up at that time and he says the brachos, and I know that we've been in the back of the sefer, we've seen a lot of things in the back, especially about the tikun hakachaus. Ein b'kach klum. There's nothing that doesn't help. V'lo shalet ole. Doesn't hurt. Excuse me. Ein bekach klum v'lo shalet alecha od ruach mis'ava v'lecha v'tam od tam demusa. So the main thing is to avoid that. Then after he gets up at this time, and he brings the mochin into Zer Anpin, through the brachos that he does, what? It brings in mochin. Because at this time there is a sakana that you will wind up in this picture where you're tasting the taste of death. This is referring to a person who went to sleep at a normal time or at the normal nighttime. Yashem Mekodem Chatzos v'Arvach Alav Chatzos v'lo Nisara. This is referring to that person. He says, "Al Sholtem Alav Klipos Keniskar." So then there's a shlita. The Klipos above Yashan Achar Tzos. Ein lechem shlitas od the law. So once you hit the shows atzos and you make those brachos, there's not going to be any shlita of the klipas on that person again. Now let me see. I think there's another place to stop and try to find it. Let's see. He's lo sefer mikdash melech. Now there's a machlokas on this. Gossip b'shem Ramaz, according to the Rad, Moshe Zuto is his name. Moshe Zuto. Al Maimer Azor ben Iskar. Yu'in Sham, so look over there. Ki Girsas Azohar Shalachem Hoya Belucha goes Derek Emes. So it didn't have this Pirush, I guess, this Pirush explanation for the Derek Emes. This is what the Zohar says. This is what it says. The Kad, when? Ispele Lel Yechov the Kedusha Ilo is ire, and the upper Kedusha is aroused. Ubarnash noim ba'arse, and a person sleeping at that time. V'lochav yisayir, and he doesn't get up, ein sham. V'arizachav v'higia, but he really reads it like this: Ubarnash the noim ba'arse, that is still sleeping. Now he has something that he wants to go over this phrase. I don't know if we'll get to it. The noim ba'arse b'makom milas noim, cause of denoim. Now what's the difference between noim and denoim? That he was, it means to say denoim, that he was sleeping. So he says hoya yashan v'lo yisayir, and he didn't get up. V'gam b'masha arba v'lo yisayir, it's also said he didn't wake up. Mashva shegavor v'hoya yashan, it's mashva that he was already sleeping v'lo yisayir, and he didn't get himself up. But if a person is lying down to sleep after Chatzos, and then the Bechlal Divrei Zohar doesn't put him into the words of the Zohar. Masha Ein Kain the Girsas Mikdash Melech Hagoris Noim. He doesn't have Hanoim, a Dunoim. Azai Kol Shiyashan Achar Chatzos Yihya Ech Shiyeh, whatever it would be. Who Bechlal Divrei Zohar, he would fall into the category of the Zohar over there. Vishinas Achar Chatzos Gavar Kosev Rav Zal Beferish Im Einu Yochel La'amot Kol Chatzos Ad Boker. If a person can't do that, I think in our world it's a very difficult thing to do unless you got plenty of spare time. Yochel La'amot Kol Chatzos Ad Boker Sheyochel Lishon Achar Kach. The person could sleep after that. Vofen Shetzarek Zrizas V'Zehiros M'od L'Shmor Nafsho Sheberega Chatzos Yimotze Neir Beprat. If he's filed sleep with Beprat Im Shorsh Nishmasu. And this was confusing for me, and maybe we'll see it again tomorrow a little bit, just to think about it. Im Shorsh Nishmasu Hum Bezivuk Yaakov Aleah. So does that mean a person who's born at nighttime, like I was born at 1:40, something like that, at nighttime? Is that what that means? That the person's neshama is a result of that yichud? Don't know that much about it. And the Asa Achar Chatzos Laila, which of course takes place after Chatzos, previously said at Chatzos, Ad Kan L'Shoner, B'Shash Zia, and we'll pick up the rest of it tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. Kol Tov.